My presentation will be looking at arts tech from a public policies perspective. So particularly in terms of how the concept of arts technology first entered the public policy scene in Hong Kong and its development since. We gave recommendations on one, what the newly established Cultural Bureau must do. Two, how arts tech can contribute more meaningfully and impactfully towards content creation. Three, building digital infrastructures for cultural data and cultural IP. And four, plans on next generation talents cultivation. We think one of the first things the new Bureau must address is whether its current infrastructure is optimized to champion the growth of arts tech going forwards. Now, indeed, statistics will show that South Korea alone currently accounts for 2.8% of the global cultural content market, and scholars attribute this the highly proactive and substantial efforts from the administration to drive this domain. So indeed, with art tech being the epitome of a cross-disciplinary, cross-media endeavor, our government needs an industry approach like South Korea, which offers comprehensive policy support from cultural content production to content distribution, as well as cultural IP protection and commercialization. So like a whole industry chain. It is a snapshot of the very strategic allocation of funding seen in South Korea's content and media policy bureaus versus Hong Kong's single lump sum funding for the entire creative and broadcasting industries. We can easily tell that South Korea has allocated the most resource to the gaming industries, about 426 million, which is actually just below what Hong Kong allocates to all of our creative industry matters. And then the second priority sector is already, so the second biggest bubble is already immersive content industry, so basically arts tech. So coming back, the first things our report urges the government to do is to give priority and strategy for the content and arts tech industries. Okay, so moving on really quickly to point number 2, the question we ask, are there more ways we can use arts tech to create more content? So moving on, if contents are software, then digital infrastructures are the hardware that can facilitate exports of cultural contents. Big data and cultural IP are very hot topics at the moment, we all know that, and many governments are actually building cultural databases and cultural IP trading platforms. Meanwhile, in other places, these databases can also have an export function. This is South Korea's digital copyright exchange. This is an example of an online platform that combines the database and trading functions. It was established way back in 2007 and is managed by the Korea Copyright Commission under the Korea's Ministry of Culture. It has 30 million copyright information data and entries as of 2018. The platform also has a trading function on the right here you see, with a mechanism for individuals and businesses to A, look for copyrighted works, B, identify the rights, C, sign licensing agreements with copyright holders so they can use the works. This is why we need to leverage new technologies to build a comprehensive system for cultural data collection and analyses. And as far as culture going out goes, digital platforms for cultural IP trading should also be built to explore domestic and international business opportunities. So these two digital infrastructures should integrate, obviously, be accessible to local and international markets to forge bigger, more well-connected cultural networks and inspire more cross collaborations across industries. Now, last but not least, talents, of course, are the pillars of the industry. Our recommendation is for the new Bureau to adopt the industry times institution times research approach and expedite a structured talents training plan with a mechanism for training and R&D collaborations in the Greater Bay Area to facilitate cultural and creative talents exchange across the region. We must be forward-looking, and research shows that immersive technology talents, so everything we've talked about this morning basically, are only going to increase in global demand. This National Centre for Immersive Storytelling is UK government funded with aims to make the UK creative workforce the most skilled in the world in the use of virtual, AR, and real-time production technology for immersive storytelling. Indeed, the CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, did say, he says, "The game engine will be to this century what the camera was to the last century," which means the same way you couldn't expect to be a director without knowing how to use a camera. So, and as a policy researcher, advocating for arts tech, I felt that it was most important for us to experience firsthand and to prove, at least to ourselves, that Hong Kong does have the capability and potential to succeed in this field.